Morning everybody, hope we're well and had a nice weekend. This morning I wanted to talk to you about conducting a video interview. You may well have done them before, you may be new to them, but I guess if you are recruiting at the moment you will be needing to do these, obviously because people can't travel to the interview. They can be used to screen candidates before inviting them into the workplace for a face-to-face meeting. I've had clients recently who have conducted Skype interviews for the first interview and then are going to bring the candidates back for a face-to-face once we're out of lockdown. It's very similar to a face-to-face interview. Perhaps the preparation differs slightly. You need to make sure that your candidates have got access to easy to use video software. Obviously, if you're doing it via a recruiter, such as Aspire Jobs, then we can do that for you. We can test that. So with my candidates, if it's doing it via Skype or Zoom, then I can test it with them first. And it's essential to make sure that you've got well-structured questions to hand to get the most out of them. So make sure that the candidates get enough information before the interview. A lot of candidates feel that they don't get this information, and it means that if they have got it, they are more likely to perform at their best. Clear instructions, practical details, that kind of thing. So they want to know how the interview will be structured. They want to know what the decision-making process is and the expected time frame, and that's really, really important. And if you can't give them a time frame, be honest with them. My candidates that are having video interviews and then going to be coming to face-to-face, I am saying to them, we don't know when that's going to be. They understand. Make sure that they have a reminder of the role requirements, so they've got the job spec and that kind of thing. A lot of them want a clear dress code, and they would want to know how long the interview will last. Okay, so there are a couple of ways of deciding your video interview format. You can do pre-recorded interviews. These are for more larger scale recruitment drives, and a pre-recorded video interview can act as a screening stage before then organising a live video interview or a face-to-face. That it might well also be relevant to do a pre-recorded interview if speed's a key driver. It can quite often accelerate the process and save on your time and your team's time. You can choose to record yourself asking the interview questions, or you can write them out, and then each question will appear one by one on the screen, and the candidate can respond via video recordings. That makes it easy to compare answers, as all candidates are supplied with the same set of questions and given the same set of time to answer them. If you're choosing to do a live video interview, then obviously that takes place in real time. It means you'll cover more ground by having conversations outside of your set questions. That will allow you to learn a little bit more about the candidate, and it'll give them a chance to get a bit more of their personality across. I think you need to make sure that you've got the candidate's contact details to hand, whether that's their email address or phone number, to make sure that that online interview runs smoothly, just in case there are any hiccups with technology. Test your software, obviously. If you're a client and you're doing a video interview, then test it, even on a member of your family, just to make sure it works. Make sure that you've got as much space as possible with as little background noise. If you're in an office or a private meeting room, then great. But if you're set up at home, which you probably will be, then a quiet room where you won't be interrupted. Follow your company's dress code for a video interview in the same way as you would when conducting a face-to-face interview. And I would recommend that the candidate does the same. So at Aspire Jobs, when a candidate has a video interview, we always tell them to dress up as if they were going to a face-to-face. Consider what will be in the background of the video frames. If your background's really busy, candidates might find it hard to focus on you and the questions you're asking. The candidate's obviously going to be nervous. It is an interview situation, but you can help them, putting them at ease, not just by what you say, but also in your body language. Be aware of where you're sitting in relation to the camera. Being too close can feel a little bit unnatural, while being too far away can perhaps impact on how well you're heard. And having your head and upper body shot is best. Make sure your Wi-Fi connection is reliable. Check the sounds, make sure you can hear each other. And be aware of any possible lagging on the screen if your Wi-Fi connection isn't the strongest. I think if you're new to conducting online interviews, then it might be more difficult to naturally build rapport with your interviewee. But I guess just as you would start a face-to-face interview, avoid going straight into questions. Kick off with a general chat, ask them how they are, how they're coping during these weird times. It helps put people at ease, and it also gives you a chance to double hear. You can check each other before getting onto the more serious stuff. Give your candidate a bit of background about you, how long you've worked for the business, how you work within your wider team, and generally how your colleagues or department contribute and impact the business. It sheds a bit more light on what it's like to work for the client, and the candidate can get to know you a little bit better before they start answering questions. The questions you ask in a video interview can follow the same framework as a face-to-face interview. I guess in the time that you've got, you want to understand your interviewee's relevant experience, their job history, their key skills, and what makes them tick in terms of the working style and how they might fit into the wider team. Some good questions to ask around video interviewing would be, tell me about your experience and why it's a fit for the role. It's quite a simple question. Candidate will understand it. They would have thought about their skill set, hopefully in advance. Listen out for them using keywords from the job description, which will highlight how their experience makes them a good fit. Another good one is, tell me about a time you solved a difficult problem. This gives you an insight into how they think around critical thinking and problem solving, and look for a clear answer. Who was involved, what the issue was, why it needed resolving, and how it was resolved. Tell me about a time you persuaded someone to get on board with your idea of way of thinking. That's about how a candidate gets buy-in, how they structure an argument to get a colleague or a senior member staff on side. Look out for how they've adapted their approach depending on who was involved in the discussions. What's your preferred way of working is another good one. This will help you establish how a candidate goes about their work, their preferred way of learning and working on tasks, whether that's independently or part of a team. And it's also an opportunity for you to share any flexible or remote working offerings your business has. How do you want to work alongside your manager? This gives you an understanding of how to get the best out of the candidate if you decide to offer them a job. And it also gives you a chance to talk a little bit more about the company's wider structure. Tell me about a time you helped to resolve a team conflict, or how you resolve conflicts. This focuses on interpersonal skills and emotional intelligence. Do they act as a mediator? What is their role? That kind of thing. And another good one is, what are your career goals? So many candidates will be considering career development and progression opportunities at every stage of the application. They'll want to know what those opportunities are going to be in the future. So they're just some tips. If you need any further help, you can get in touch with me at helen@aspirejobs.co.uk. Thank you.